It's Monday, folks. Yes, indeed. I've got an update at this end. Everything could go wrong. But Bakerville is open for business, and I'll be with you in just a moment. Okay, let's cut that. I have no idea. I have no idea what is going on with all of that, folks. But we're here. We are live. We're groovy. We're getting ready for today's main show over on Truth Frequency Radio. And that'll start in just over an hour from now. Got my good friend with me today, Charlie Robinson. He is going to be on the show. And yeah, it's going to be a good one. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You need to tune in live to that. So an hour from now, just over an hour, you'll be hearing the host of Macroaggressions, the author of The Octopus of Global Control, and all of that right here on the Kev Baker Show. But with that said, you know how we roll here. We do a pre-show stream. I get the chance to kick back, relax, and chill out with all of you. We take a look at some of the stuff that people have come across. I've obviously, as you see, done an update on my camera and things like that. We're meant to have a spinning globe behind us, but I don't know what's really gone wrong with that. We'll try that again, shall we? I think that's it going now, maybe. Yeah, there you go. So, and we've got some really groovy, cool woo to talk about. Now, that was some crazy music coming in today. I just randomly chose something that I downloaded a couple of weeks ago. I downloaded a whole new kind of library of tunes and just randomly picked that one today. It's called 2020. It's kind of out of whack. You're either going to love it, you're going to hate it. It's a bit like 2020, right? So before we go anywhere, though, I need to come into the chat room, see who's hanging out in there. Hope you're all keeping it real. Hope you all had a good weekend. Hope you all enjoyed Bill Bean's show last night. Dang, that was a very, very, very good indeed. And of course, Bill had on one of his friends, Stan Gordon, and talk about a woo fest. I didn't think we would talk Lon Strickler, but I think last night we thought, how many topics did we touch on? Bigfoot, UFOs, Kecksburg, UFO, and how funny was the synchronicity that we got there? Just last week, somebody in the chat room had mentioned the Kecksburg UFO. And unbeknown to me, we had somebody like the expert, the preeminent expert on that topic, coming on the show. And that's the weird and wonderful way that the show works. Now, I just need to take a little second here before I come into the chat room, because I haven't shared this with a little Facebook group that we've got. So hang on, let me head on over there. Bear with me. It'll only take me 2 seconds. It really will. There we go. That's that shared in there. So hopefully they'll get a hold of that. They'll come on over. But people kicking about in there so far. We have got the Bearded Traveller. Have a shave, man. Come on, it's 2020. Do it. Just for us. Have a shave. I'm only joking. We got Julian. And Julian was talking about a whole host of really interesting stuff the other night. Artificial intelligence, consciousness, sorry. Must have been a Freudian slip there or something. I don't know. But it was really, really good. And that's Lessons for Life. Remember to check that out. There he is. So we've also got First Paranormal in there. Hope you're doing good, Jace. Felicia. And Felicia's going to be on the show on the 5th of October. So it's not next week, but the week after. 2 weeks from now, Felicia will be our special guest. And we're going full woo on that one. It is woo all the way. 2 hours of cryptids, Bigfoot, UFOs, aliens, you name it. We're probably going to talk about it. Skinwalker. We're going to talk about Skinwalker, surely. ZX is lurking. He's not lurking. I know exactly what he's doing. He's working on universal domination on No Man's Sky. The guy's absolutely, he's living in a virtual world right now as our ZX. I'm only busting your chops, man. But good to see you, bro. Eli's in there. Marty, awesome. Brassneck, Greg. Who else we got? Rorschach, I got it right this time again. Ronald, good to see you. Yeshia, or Yeshai. Little Glob, good evening. Jules, who else is kicking about over here? Let me see. A good turnout today for the pre-show stream. Good on yous all. Happy with that. Onslow. Can't miss out Onslow. Let's see. And I think the Wookiee might have been first. Maybe. But if you're here, welcome, Tiffany. See Tiffany coming in. Stavros. Sam. Let's get to Zadok, because if not, I'll just be sitting there reading out people's names all night. And like I say, before we do launch into this, remember, coming up in just over an hour, we have got Charlie Robinson. Yes, indeed. So with that said, how about we have a little conversation about something that Jason sent me earlier on today? And in a way, this is the weird and wonderful world of synchronicities that we live in. And if Karen's in the chat room, and I just seen her coming in there, you know, one of the gherkins, she can tell you that she can attest. Her and her husband, they know firsthand just how freaky it gets when you hang around this show. We start coming across the same links, the same topics, and it all happens at just the same time. And it's weird because today's story's got a link to Poland, and they're from, or they're over in Poland. And it also links to a conversation I had with my mum last night, because she told me, Kevin, you have to watch this show. There's a show on Discovery Channel, and it's called, now wait till I find this here. It's called, because I don't want to get this wrong. It's called Rob Riggle, okay? And he's a global investigator, Rob Riggle. And she says to me, episode 2. Now, I've not seen it, so I'm not going to spoil it in any way, but episode 2, he's in Scotland, right? And he's at Roslin Chapel. And not the focus of it isn't purely Roslin, that wonderful, amazing, awe-inspiring chapel that's the centre of so many stories, right? Even Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code featured prominently in that. But it's what's under the ground there that Rob Riggle was on about. So last night, I've got my mum telling me, need to see this new thing, Rob Riggle, Tunnels, Roslin. Then I go over to Discord today, and Jason's in there, and he says, Kev, have you checked out, did you look at that link I sent you over in Skype? And I hadn't been to Skype at that point, so I headed on over to Skype. And the link that Jason had sent me, talk about tying in with everything we're talking about here, and talking about also tying in with the Gherkins in Poland. He sent me a story about a secret Knights Templar crypts and tunnel that is discovered in Poland. Now, I know if you're regular listeners to the show and you like the Kev Baker show, you're going to get a little kick out of the synchronicities that all kind of threaded together there. It means nothing. It doesn't make anyone better than anyone else. But if you start to look for these little signs, it's almost as if, I don't know, you get little road markers. There is little indicators out there that you're syncing up with other people. You know, you're on that same frequency. Not saying it's a good frequency, not saying it's a bad frequency. We're all equally crazy here, is the kind of bare kind of basics of what I was trying to say there. But I think this is a really good conversation to have before we launch into some real craziness with Charlie Robinson in still just over an hour from now. I'm doing good for time today. I'm not going too far into the weeds yet. It may happen. Of course, Roslin Chapel, which is going to come up in this conversation as well. It's somewhere that I went last year with my family, and I was looking forward to it, obviously. I mean, 44 years it's taken me to get to Roslin Chapel, and I'm in Scotland. It's embarrassing, right? And all the times we've talked about it and everything else, you might expect that I was absolutely on a knife's edge to get there, you know, absolutely anticipating it'd be awesome. Now, don't get me wrong, I was looking forward to getting there, but it was equally good to spend time with family. But there's something about that location, and take it from me, and probably anyone else that's been there, you can't describe the feeling of being thrust into what I would call living history like that. There's something really weird about that place. Good weird, weird, woo weird, Templar weird. We'll have a little chat about they boys, will we? So anyway, let's take a look at what's going on here. What got all of this bloody going today? Jason did, and Karen, and my mum. So I blame all of you out there for the rabbit hole we're at right now. And it says all roads to the Holy Grail eventually lead to the Knights Templar, and all roads to the Knights Templar eventually lead to Poland. Huh? So it says true to their crusading reputation, the Knights Templar got around a lot of places, including the village of somewhere ridiculously crazy for me to try and say, but I'll have a go. Krasnazi. I'm going to say that. Kwarsnazi. Sounds good now, anyway. On Poland's northwest border with Germany. I can do Germany, okay? Germany. Das ist Germany. Deutschland, ja? So that's where the Church of Saint Stanislav, or Saint Stanislav Kostka, once served as commander for the knights beginning in 1232, and where they built the Templar Chapel. And of course, you've still got the Templar region of London to this day. I think it's just called Temple region. And that's where you got all your banking and your big kind of 1% type corporations hanging around. Of course, being the temple, you know what else is there. So, still standing, today it holds a Templar museum and has hidden history beneath it. And that's where archaeologists have been pointing their ground-penetrating radar and recently discovered tunnels and a crypt with remains. Cue the Monty Python music, but I don't have that. All I've really got is...
How dare you?
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
I hope they didn't find a ma'am down there. So our ground-penetrating radar has detected Gothic crypts with the remnants of Templar knights beneath the chapel. According to legends and medieval documents, there was a well in the vicinity of the chapel, and rumour has it that the well served as an entrance to a secret tunnel. And this still requires an exhaustive archaeological investigation. That in itself there, if that isn't enough to get your imagination going, if you're into the woo and the kind of topics we talk about there, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Jason himself, first paranormal, who got this all going today, he goes down underground now. He actually goes down underground. Yeah, Karen, I knew I would butcher that name. I had a funny feeling I'd butchered it. But we'll just call it that Polish town. I think that keeps everyone happy. And it means I won't have to try and pronounce it again. So your husband must be absolutely laughing right now. He's probably fallen off his chair. But talk about perfect woo. Templars, tunnels, mysteries, the Holy Grail. We've talked about, not Roslin, sorry, but Oak Island a heck of a lot on the Kev Baker show, on streams. Oh, for goodness sake, I had the Whistler, Johnny Sinclair. Johnny Sinclair. Actually, that family, so central to all of this story, the Templar story, and in particular, Roslin. And of course, we'll get to there, but a little bit more of this. Somebody with a really Polish-sounding name is an archaeologist working to preserve that town in Poland's medieval heritage, and I told CNN, now I'd like to think that this is true. Just having a laugh. But researchers also found fortifications and a graveyard in what began as a search for the Templar commandery, of which the chapel is the only remaining building. Now, instead, they found remains of a distillery, but not an alleged bridge used to cross the trench, rumoured to have been dug up around the commandery. And the radar also located remnants of buildings and archaeologists have no records of, which mean more searches are needed. Now, how many times have we talked about, the layers, what's hidden literally under our feet? You go to somewhere like Edinburgh and you can get a real appreciation for how, we've just built up. You go down to the dungeons and even below there. Jason, he probably had no idea of the expansive type of underworld that, like I say, it's right beneath our feet and we haven't got a clue it's there. Some of these tunnels may be still to be actually located. And when it comes to the Templars, you have to wonder, what was it that they were transporting down there, apart from the gold and money and things like that, but was there any bigger secrets, any bigger mysteries to uncover? Did they really get the Holy Grail? And what is the Holy Grail? Is it a chalice? Is it the Ark of the Covenant? I mean, do we really know what that is? Did they get it? Did they take it all the way from Solomon's temple that we've built today? And like people say, the building of the third temple, it hasn't happened yet. But if you actually want to get real woo, it has happened, because when you look at the plan for, I know this is going to sound really out there, really weird, and way off topic, but is it? When you look at the architecture for a quantum chip for the D-Wave, you can't get away from, or I can't get away from, what Anthony Patch and his wife showed me and what they asked me to do on Photoshop. And that is just take a look at the plan for Solomon's Temple and the plan for a quantum chip. And lo and behold, by golly, what would you know? The two of them absolutely match up. But hey, it's the #1 abnormal, paranormal woo show right here, right? So we can do that. We can go from Templars to quantum and back via tunnels. What kind of tunnels? Quantum tunnels, obviously. I had to. So yeah. What about the Grail? And everyone's saying, yeah, shut up, Kev. Well, the crypts, 7 in total, were opened, and the remains in them were dated much later than the Templars. A gold coin was found, and the Holy Grail was allegedly, or alleged, to have been sunk in a nearby lake with gold coins after knights were disbanded. And a coin was discovered in the excavations, but it's from the Battle of Sarbinovo, probably, in the 7 Years' War, 1758. Now, the underground tunnels may hold clues. That requires more radar scans before any excavations can begin. Should they give up? It says, give up the quest for the Grail? Unheard of. Absolutely.
How dare you?
You tell them, Greta, you can't give up the quest for the Grail. It turns out that this area of Poland was a hotbed of Knights Templar activity. Back in the 13th century, and the nearby town of Rurka has its own chapel of the Knights Templar that is currently closed for renovation, and Myslibors, oh dear, just down the road, has preserved fortifications which are said to look as they did during the Crusades. So embarrassing that I can't pronounce Polish words. I mean, our neighbour, Polish guy, his English is brilliant. It's perfect. It even gets better the more cans of beer he has. It gets more clearer. How does that work? But you ask typically a Scottish person to try and pronounce all these words with W's and Z's and C's, and it's going to go wrong, as you've heard multiple times with me. So we're nearly there, folks. You don't have to listen to me reading honours here. It's all good. Good question. Myslibors is surrounded by 4 lakes, but none of them are the right one, according to Marek Karolozak, a local historian. That lake requires a trip to nearby Swatki, or Svatki. However, before you go, it says, quote, the lake, which used to be located near the village of Swatki, also known by the Templars, has dried out, and the treasure has either been stolen or lost forever in the swamp. That's quite interesting, considering the swamp is turning up a lot of interesting stuff on Oak Island. Very interesting. Sigh. Don't give up. Remember what the Python said. So keep right to the end. You'll find your goal, my friend. Life is really up to you. I'm not singing it. I am not singing it, all right? So, listen. That's what started me thinking today. Because tunnels in Poland to do with the Knights Templar. I've got no idea why that isn't working. Come on, you got to work. Do it for the stream. Come on. Let's see. Will I keep it rolling? Maybe. We'll see. So, Knights Templar are obviously very, very associated with Scotland. Then you've got this link with Turkey. I mean, It's obviously a known link, but it's not something I was too familiar with. I'm not like some Templar expert. I'd need whistles for that. Some of it he can tell us, some of it he can't. You know how the whistler rolls. But Turkey and Scotland, tunnels. Come on. I would say out of the 66 people here right now, 66, imagine that when we're doing a stream about Templars. I would imagine you've all at some point heard me talking about the really crazy but cool tunnel system that runs between Scotland and Turkey, right? So there's some about it here. It says Stone Age Man. Was it Stone Age Man? Stone Age Man created a massive network of underground tunnels crisscrossing Europe from Scotland to Turkey. A new book of the ancient superhighways has claimed, and German archaeologist Dr. Henrik Kusch has said evidence of the tunnels has been found under the Neolithic settlements all over the continent. Now, I don't know about the ages of them. Maybe they are Neolithic. Maybe they're even older. Were they something that was more commonly known about way back in the day? Hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago. I mean, you see one of them here, the size of this. I don't know. Maybe you can get an idea of the scale there. I would imagine she can just about stand up. But these tunnel networks all throughout Europe, all under there. And it makes you wonder what may, I'm not saying definitely, but what may have been transported to right here in Scotland. And when I started to go down this little rabbit hole today, I found another piece of information that we're going to take a look at that totally fits with all of this. Now, this comes from a website that I'm not really too aware of, but we'll take a look at it in a moment. It's called night-lomas.com. Night as in like Knight Templar, right? And I found this on it. A secret tunnel. I'll blow this up a little bit. Niven Sinclair has told the story of how he and a number of others had conducted investigations both inside and outside of the building in 1997. And if any of you are wondering or need to see what Rosslyn Chapel looks like, well, just give me a second, because I have got a full folder of pictures of that place. Let me see. So probably best putting on. I'll give you a view of it. There you go there. If I just push that up, maybe. You get an idea. That's Roslin Chapel there, right? So we'll come back to this little story here. And it says the year after the Hiram Key. Now, this guy's an author, and we're going to take a look at the website in a moment. But the year after the Hiram Key was published, they had dug a number of investigative holes and found an underway passage leading from the chapel under Gardiner's Brae to Roslin Castle, some considerable distance away. Now, Niven described the tunnel as being huge and very deep underground at the point where it enters under the foundations of Roslin. Now, Jason, who does a lot of going underground for his paranormal research, urban exploration, if you want to be more kind of specific about what he's doing here, he's got a friend that has been doing urban exploration for a long time, and he's going to try and get us, if there are, any maps of any of these tunnels. This is something that really fascinates me. Being local, you know, Scotland, Roslyn, very fascinating. Templars, good woo. Possibly the Holy Grail, links to Oak Island. It's got everything that the Kev Baker show deals in here, right? So hopefully we'll get maps, maybe, as time goes on. But the steps that go down from the main chapel to the crypt end on a modern floor. But Niven tells how there is another flight of steps, or steep steps, concealed beneath that floor, leading in the opposite direction back under the main building to a vault directly underneath the engrailed cross in the chapel roof. Now, when I was in there, I know you're not meant to, but I was naughty, and I did take a little bit of footage. A little bit. So we may take a little bit of a look at that before we go today. I'm sure you'd have all seen it before. Um, we'll see. So it says, according to Niven's information, it was in this deep and centrally positioned vault that rituals of initiation with 4 levels of degrees were once conducted. Now, he was not clear as to the nature of these initiations, saying that perhaps they were a secretly surviving strand of the Knights Templar or a proto-Masonic rite. Let's sprinkle a little bit of the Freemasons. You can't escape the Freemasons when you're talking about the Knights Templar. But it goes on. It says, Niven described how the tunnel connects this vault with the castle. It leaves the hidden vault directly below the south door, just feet from the carving of the candidate being initiated by means of a ritual that we have shown statistically to be connected to modern Freemasonry. At this point, the passageway is 3 feet wide and 5 feet high. Now, not so long ago, we took a little look at what these tunnels over in Turkey or underneath the UK look like, right? Or the ones that stretch all the way between. I'm not saying it's precise, but yeah, maybe just a bit over 5 feet. Is it 3 feet wide? Similar. Just saying. I'm just saying, okay? Doesn't mean anything. I provide, you decide. You connect those dots if you want. If not, hey, we're all good here. But it says, and in the end of the day, we're just having fun. We're chilling out. We're getting our mojo on for Charlie Robinson, coming along in 44 minutes. Can you believe it? So then, let's speed this up just a little. Niven describes, we got to that bit, 3 feet wide. Yep. After a straight run of approximately 25 feet, the passage turns 90 degrees towards the east and drops down the hillside with its roof 12.5 feet below ground level. The tunnel then continues under the field towards the castle, and we sketched the layout of the tunnel and the vaults. And as we did so, we realised that we had heard this whole description of the hidden chambers or this secret tunnels before. The 14th degree of the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, otherwise known as the Grand, Elect, Perfect, and Sublime Mason, identifies a subterranean passage connecting Solomon's temple with his place in Jerusalem, saying, King Solomon builded a secret vault, the passage to which was through 8 other vaults, all underground, and to which a long and narrow passage led from that palace, or from the palace. The 9th arch, or vault, was immediately under the Holy of Holies of the temple. In that apartment, King Solomon held his private conferences with King Hiram and Hiram Abif, and of course, both of them very, very, very central to the whole Freemasonic story. And it says, so according to the Masonic ritual, and I appreciate you can't quite see that up there. Let's see, I'll pull it down a bit. There we go. Pull it over there. You see, we can do all sorts in here now. There you go. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. We sketched the layout and the tunnel. Blah, 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 blah. I read that. So according to the Masonic ritual, there was an all-important chamber underneath the Holy Temple, which was connected to Solomon's palace. And Roslin also had a passageway connected to the palace or residence of the Grand Master. The relationship between the two is remarkable, and here is yet more evidence that speaks of a connection between the Jerusalem temple and Roslin, as well as between Roslin and later Masonic ritual. Now, I've not actually checked that out. Let's see. The case for the Roslin Jerusalem. connection. Will we go over that? Does that sound good? What do you think, chat? Do you think we should go over that? At the end of the day, I'm here for you, so if you want to get into that, I think it'd be pretty cool. And think of those tunnels again, right? Think of those tunnels. I said they go from Scotland to Turkey. What if they go all the way to Jerusalem? What if? Just what if? What if they go all the way to Jerusalem? Now that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. And that's me going, oh, way out on a limb. Way out on a limb. So it says here, the connection between Roslin and Jerusalem. Is it there? It says, here's a summary of the information that caused us to conclude that Roslin was built as a spiritual reconstruction. So could you say that Roslin is the third temple? Is it? Roslin Chapel. The third temple has already been built, folks. Hey, I'm having a bit of fun, bit of woo. Do with this info what you will. I don't know. So it says, number one, the ground plan of Roslin is 1/3 the scale of the final Jerusalem temple, with two principal pillars corresponding to the famous pillars of Boaz and Jachin, and stood in the porchway of the original temple. Sorry, just a bit breaking news, but not important. The west wall of Roslin is built on a different scale to the rest of the building, and the ends of the walls are ragged and unfinished. Now, the standard explanation is that in the 15th century, builders suddenly stopped work on what had originally been intended to be a great collegiate church. However, Dr. Jack Miller, a geologist from Cambridge University, has pointed that the west wall could not be part of any further building work. He has shown that the Freemasonry is not tied into the main fabric of the building, and any attempt to build onto it would result in total collapse. Now, the geologist also pointed out that the stone used is from the same geological strata as the Jerusalem temple, and the blocks of stone were chiseled to look worn and damaged, like a copy of the ruin. 3 top-flight professors with specialist knowledge have stated that the design of the west wall is highly Herodian, and therefore appears to have been created to look like Jerusalem at the time of Christ. And one of them, James Charlesworth, the then Albright Professor of Archaeology from Jerusalem, has pointed out that the designers of Roslin even went to the lengths of imitating robbed stones, so common in Jerusalem. These are stones that were carved from an original for an original purpose, and then taken from ruins to be used for a second purpose. Number 5, there is only one inscription on the stonework of Roslin, and this appears on a lintel in the roof near the entrance to the crypt. It is in medieval Latin and reads, "Wine is strong. A king is stronger. Women are even stronger. But truth will conquer all." Wow. Wine is strong. A king's stronger. Women are even stronger. They were woke in medieval times. Who knew? But the truth conquers all. And the truth, my friends, let me tell you, it's never as easy as being black or white. I think we find the actual truth resides in the grey. And that's why sometimes it's so murky and so hard to get to. So that's my deep thought on that. This line was the solution to a riddle that led directly to the rebuilding of the Jerusalem temple after the Jews were released from their Babylonian captivity. The words come from the book of Esdras and were recorded by the 1st century AD historian Josephus in Book 11 of Antiquities of the Jews. I'm laughing because Joe Joseph, funnily enough, myself and Scott have called him Josephus from time to time. I think even Joe's called himself Josephus. Not, he doesn't mean he's that. I hope he doesn't mean he's that. And folks, Joe Joseph, he's never far away. Oh no, he's never far away. Just you get ready. You get ready. Get yourselves ready. Joe Joseph is close. Okay, he'll be back soon. It would be a coincidence of the highest magnitude that the only inscription in Roslin is the sentence that led to the rebuilding of the Jerusalem temple. And if Roslin was not intended to be a reconstruction, if Roslin was not also intended to be a reconstruction of the Holy Temple. Number 6. The pillars inside Roslin have been laid out around a central design that presents a 6-pointed star known as the Seal of Solomon or the Star of David. Now, this design element centers on a huge boss in the ceiling, which corresponds exactly with the spot in the original Jerusalem temple where the Ark of the Covenant was placed. There is also strong circumstantial support for Roslin being a copy of the temple, in that 9 members of the original Knights Templar had strong connections with Johnny Whistles. Well, not literally Johnny Whistles, but the Sinclair family, and the area where Roslin was built. After completing 9 years of excavating beneath the ruins of the Jerusalem temple, the Knights Templar journeyed to Scotland to build their first preceptory outside the Holy Land at a place called Temple, which is just a mile away from the site where Roslin was built by the Sinclair family 300 years later. And finally, number 8. When a British Army expedition excavated beneath the Jerusalem temple in the 19th century, they found tunnelling and artifacts left by the Knights Templar. Now, the knowledge gained of the subterranean layout of the Jerusalem temple by the Knights Templar explains how the St. Clair family could have designed the ground plan to the same layout. It does make you wonder what they found, eh? It really doesn't. Karen in the chat room. Makes you wonder just what the network of ancient tunnels must look like. I would imagine some look like that. I'm sure I had. If we look at this. Images. These are Roslin tunnels I've put in here. But you get an idea. Like this. These are common under Scotland. There's stuff like that under Edinburgh. And some speculate that they may go to Roslin, because you got to understand Roslin isn't a far, it's not exactly, a long journey. Gilberton Cove, hang on, Gilmerton Cove tunnels. BCD things. They reckon they used to do some kind of rituals down here. They actually don't know the full kind of purpose of this, but look at that. Take a look at this. I mean, look at the kind of architecture you're talking about there. That's cray-cray, right? I mean, that's like seating. This is one, there's actually like a bowl that's carved into the actual rock, if I remember rightly. And I don't know if it was for holding wine or there it is there. That you can see the little hole there. They reckon this was for rituals. I mean, look at that. They say at one point Catholics may have hidden in the tunnels as well. These things, who knows how old they are? Who honestly knows? And I think they're everywhere. I think they're everywhere. That's the big thing. I mean, going to Turkey as well. Is there a chance that there might be a network that leads into Göbekli Tepe? The oldest temple, allegedly, in the world. Well, it's the oldest one that we think we found. I say we think we found because who knows? Who knows underneath? What's even deeper? What did they build on top of? Crazy, 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 right? Unsolved Edinburgh, Gilmerton Cove. Look, I mean, what? That's like something out of Göbekli Tepe. Is it not? Jason is absolutely, he's desperate to get to this location. Jason, I'm desperate for you to get to this location, brother. I really am. Roslin Freemasonry connection. People have claimed connections between Roslin and Freemasonry for hundreds of years. Because it is. Because you can't get away from it. Here's the evidence. The central design theme of Roslin is around the six-pointed star of the Seal of Solomon, and the layout of pillars forms a device known in Freemasonry as the triple tau. 3 interlocked T shapes. The tau being the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And according to the ritual of the Holy Royal Arch degree, the triple tau or toe signifies the following 4 things, which the ritual gives in Latin and then in English. Templus Herio Solemi or Solemi, that's the Temple of Jerusalem. Clavis ad Thesaurem, a key to treasure. Theca ubi res pretiosa deponitur. That sounded more French there. Ooh la la, it's a French Latin. A place where a precious thing is concealed. Res ipsa pretiosa, the precious thing itself. And the Seal of Solomon is explained in the Royal Arch degree as follows. Nil nisi clavis dist. Nothing is wanted but the key. And it says, see tatila or tatlia. I can't say that. If thou canst comprehend these things, thou knowest enough. That's the thing, right? You know, that little marker, it was talking about the words that were written on the inscription when you go down into Roslin, into the crypt there. I mean, that means something to some people, but it means an entirely different thing to people if you know what you're looking at. And some of the carvings that are in Roslin Chapel, it's insane. Let's go back here a moment. I don't want to take too much longer, folks. I hope I haven't wasted your time today. I thought this would be interesting to get into. I think it's interesting, but I never know what you people out there might think, you know? And I always you have to be wary, you know? You got to be conscious of what your audience are thinking. Dang. So let's see if there's something here that we can maybe play. Hold on. Leave it with me a second, folks. Okay, right. Wait a moment. I put that over here. Let's see. Sorry about having to do this on the fly, folks, but it'll be worth it. No, I'm not some crazy dude going about with like a toe cam getting like foot fetish material. I know this looks a bit dodgy right now. It gets better though, don't worry. I put that just about here and shove it behind my dome. Let's see. I'll get there. There we go. Right. Let's see if you can hear this. You know, I'm gonna have to pause it on the fly, kind of, but you can even get a little taste there for some of the stuff that's going on up on the roof. It's insane. The engineering, the architecture, the sculpture, it's just insane. I mean, that bit on the right-hand side here, you see all those little kind of notches? You see them all? That's where they all relate to, like, different notes, cymatic notes, like vibrational tones. There's people even made music, interpreting some of these carvings on the roof there. It's unbelievable. It is totally. I think Kev should stop trying to pronounce exactly. But Hodgie, that's part of the fun here. That's where we get to laugh at me even more than we usually do. Sometimes I'm spot on, dude. Sometimes I channel Latin people. I hear Latin people, but only sometimes. Only sometimes. Not very often, admittedly. I know. Let's see what else I might have here for looking at, though.
Inside the chair. Thank you for listening and enjoy this lovely day today.
You see, you're not meant to be doing anything in there. You're not meant to be filming anything at all. It's all like kind of sneaky beaky stuff, you know? Not that sneaky. There we go. See if I can turn that down. There we go. Turn that down. And hopefully it'll keep on playing. Hopefully. But yeah, you'll get a better look at it in there. Again, shh, don't tell anyone. We'll get taken away. Marty, you know me, I've got to laugh at everything. You don't laugh, you'll cry, right? But this is it's someplace. And then you have to wonder. I don't think that's Templar, like, memorabilia that's hanging there, but then you have to wonder, like, just what is encoded into that place. It's like, there's a story there that I don't think many people have decoded yet. I know that sounds weird. And of course, Dan Brown, he made it like infamous with the Da Vinci Code. And that's the cat. That cat lives in the chapel. It's like pretty famous. The black cat of Roslin. Yep. I mean, you can see for yourself, this is some place, Karen. Absolutely. And then look, I mean, look at all this stuff. It's like, it's covered. It's top to bottom and just weird woo. It truly, truly is. Apologies to the tourists that I caught on camera there. There she is, look. Oh, their old Ma Baker. Yep. So yeah, there you have it, folks. There you have it. Great, Hodgie. You want to go upstairs to see the organ? We got to go up and see the organ. We got to go up and see it, man. It is absolutely insane. It's insane. It looks like it actually could be the cockpit for some kind of like, it could be a spaceship, you know? I'm making that up, folks. Right, there we go. If I pause it there. Right, these bits that hang down, I believe that they're the ones that have like, it's weird because they're all different things on them, right? And you don't know. You just don't know what it might all mean. I mean, it means one thing on the surface. It's a beautiful chapel. But then if it did have this real significance, and I mean, if they took something out of the Middle East from Solomon's Temple all the way across Europe, landed it in Scotland for however long, and they decided to like pay homage to Jerusalem right there, I think, is there still something there today? I would like to think so, but I would imagine if there was anything there, it would have been dug up by the army, like it said in the 19th century. How much is still to be discovered? I don't know. That's where the woo comes in, right? But yeah, I say it's a bit of a dodgy toe cam looking thing going on there, isn't it? I'm actually lucky I didn't get arrested for being like some kind of pervert. It looks like I'm probably doing some nefarious stuff there. Look at that. Dang. Anne's laughing, and I don't know if she's laughing at me being a pervert or really enjoying this. There is something there, says Hodgie. He played the organ in New York for 6 years. Wow, man. Hodgie, see when you're playing that, does it like... Because when you listen to it, it goes right through you, man. It puts you in an altered state. I really do think organ music helps to create an altered state of consciousness. That's why, you know, some people back in the day before they jacked with all the frequencies, when they went in and out of these places, they felt different. They literally felt connected to something bigger. Marty, I know I need to be either fully serious or fully comedy, right? Because the two, it doesn't go together. People don't get it. But it's how we roll. Number one, abnormal, paranormal. We're cool. So, yeah. I suppose I could chop some of this up now that I've got my After Effects skills and get some crazy stuff going on here. There's an idea. You become one with it through your fingers and legs. And for one moment, oh gee, I'd forgotten what the hell I'd asked you. And I'm thinking, what the heck is he asking me to touch with my fingers and legs? But I've got you now, brother. The organ. We're there. Church ill-treated my people. Donnie, you know, the organised part of it all. That's pretty organs to organised. Not a big fan of the whole organised thing myself, dude. I think it says, again, each to their own, but I think it's something that you have yourself. You don't need any of these big buildings. You know, you don't probably need any books. It's about you, you know? It's in us all. And I don't want to get too preachy, but yeah, I get where you're coming from there. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. You could argue that when the Roman Empire fell, well, did it really? Because they kind of just swapped their centurion garb for frocks, and instead of handing out warfare around the world, they went with books. That's a very cynical way to look at it. But that's the organised side of it. Like I say, there's good and bad to everything, but I totally agree with you, Donny boy. Totally agree. So yeah, pretty cool. I'll probably get taken to court by the Roslin. Maybe the Templars will take me to court. That could be good. The discovery for that case would be quite fun, right? On all your documents pertaining to Roslin Chapel now. Right now. So, yeah. Pretty cool stuff. And I mentioned earlier on in the stream as well, you're probably thinking, what is he talking about? When I mentioned Solomon's Temple and the D-Wave. What on earth is Kev Baker trying to throw at us now? I hear it all. I've heard it before. There's nothing you can say to me that I haven't heard before, okay? But I still remember making these pictures for Anthony, and you can get all of the information that relates to this, right? In his magazine, Entangled. And try to think what the best one is to kind of show you. It's insane. It's truly, truly nuts. Well, you can take this one here first. That's the kind of first one I've done, right? This might work. This might work. So that's Solomon's Temple, right? We all get that. So what, Kev? So what? Anthony, his wife, said, Kev, we want you to try and take a look at Solomon's Temple and the architecture, like the schematics, the blueprint for the D-Wave, right? I'm thinking, all right, cool. And he said, see if you can overlay the two of them. And so done that. That's the first one. And then, oh, don't tell me it's gonna glitch out. Oh, don't glitch out on me, man. Don't do that. Oh. Hang on, give me a second, folks. At least you're still there. That's the main thing. We didn't lose all of you. Hang on. Hang on. I'll get us back there. Where are we? Yeah. Jimmy Jeans is a big fan of these pictures as well. He loves this woo. So here's the next one, right? Now, I know this one isn't... I mean, this is like... I'm going to show you more in a minute. And then that one there, and you just overlay it like that. That's not the cool part though, per se, because you've also got, which I think is a bit more profound. You've got this here, and then you got this here. And you start to see something appearing over the top of this, right? And you know how the outside of computer chips have connections and things like that. You know that. You start laying it up, layering it up, and then you end up with that. And when you take the schematics, you lay the two of them over the top, and they do exactly the same kind of thing. Not exactly, but why is that even a thing? Why am I even interested? What are you even trying to say? You know, it said that King Solomon was in communication with otherworldly entities in Solomon's temple and down in the holiest of holies, right? Where when you actually look at the description of the temple in the holiest of holies, and it sounds pretty quantum to me. Sounds pretty shielded, whatever they had down there, wherever they kept this thing. And communicating with things in other dimensions. That sounds more along Geordie Rose's line of thinking, right? Not King Solomon. And you see how the two of them start to kind of line up. Now, it doesn't mean anything. I'm not telling you it means anything. I'm not telling you Geordie Rose is a bad person because, as we know, I got to speak to him and he didn't turn out that bad at all, right? So it's just interesting because we always talk about science and you can't get away from at the very heart of some of today's super technologies. There's been a lot of the information that's been gained from other worlds. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying. And then when you can start to see that there's a way that you can almost like, if you squint your eye a little, see Solomon's temple. And look, it's good. Woo. Isn't it? Isn't it? And on that note, I have to take my leave because I need to go and get the main man for today. And that is Charlie Robinson. ZX pyramids have the same. It said that, yeah, they look like the circuit boards. Absolutely do, doesn't it? Some people try and debunk this, but it doesn't matter. It's still similar. We'll look at this and I'll get out of here because I need to go and get the man. I need to go and get Charlie, man. Here we go. There you go. Make of that what you will. Make of it what you will. Hey, I provide, you decide. It's all I can do. I ain't telling you what to think. I don't care what you think, as long as we all have fun. Kind of talking about these things, getting into the woo. Main thing in all of this is you. You and your family, folks. When you come along here on Kev Baker Show 2, I'll take you into the woo. I'll try and take your mind off some of that craziness that's going out in the world. But then when we go to the Kev Baker Show main, we dive head first right into that craziness. We go toe to toe with the clowns out there. And to do that tonight, I've got Charlie Robinson. So I just hope today you've had a bit of fun here. Bit of a nice chill out, a nice time. And I hope if you're new, you'll come back again. And we're on our way to 5,000 subscribers. We've got 4,926 when I last checked. It's going very, very well. So we're definitely going to get to 5,000 before Christmas. And thank you all for supporting the channel. It means the world. So with that said, I really need to get out of here, folks. I'd love to stay longer and talk, but I need to go and do things to do, people to see. And that means all of you and Charlie over at tfrlive.com. Now I'm going to try and put music on, and I'm going to try not to burst your eardrums. How does that sound? Marty, you have a good one. I see that you've got to run there. Where are we? Where's the music, Kev? Kev, come on, man. Sort it out. That's Dave having a word with me, folks. That was Dave. Let's see. This'll do it. There we go. But now that where's that? That's better, right? Right? Megaphone man, it's best when we can all love universe. I'm out of here.